I'm breaking out a new contest, guys. Join my Discord, compete, win some gems. Welcome, I'm the Deadwood Jedi. This is another Raid Shadow Legends video, and I'm very excited because I am going to be starting a contest for you guys. What I would like to see is you guys share with us, I should say, your best Nightmare team using all rare champions or lower. So commons, uncommons, that's totally fine, but they cannot be epics, there cannot be legendaries in it. I want it all rares or lower in your team. And it's only Nightmare difficulty. I don't care what affinity is. It can be void, it can be red, it can be green, it can be blue, doesn't matter. I just want to see the best damage team you guys can put out. And of course, I can't throw this challenge out there without actually participating myself. So I will also be showing you guys a team that I built, and I'm going to be showing you that in a few minutes here. But before we get into that, I just want to cover how this works. So what you guys need to do in order to participate is you need to join my Discord, and that is linked down below in every single one of my videos in the pinned comment and description. So that should be easy to find. Or you can actually find it on my website as well under socials. It's linked right there. So find my Discord, join my Discord. There is going to be a specific channel for this contest. And then you just need to post a screenshot as well as your number with it so that I can give you the gems if you win, and the screenshot just to prove that you competed and did so fairly. So that's all you have to do. It's really simple, right? The top 10 people will get the gems, and that's all you got to do. It's that easy. Really looking forward to this. I think this is going to be a lot of fun for people. Give you guys some other challenge in this game to go forward. If you're getting tired with Hydra, you're getting tired with Arena, well, you can do this and have a little bit of fun. Try something a little bit different. Now, I know not everybody has a bunch of rare champions in order to build out. That's okay. It's totally fine. You maybe won't win this time, but it's still fun to compete and test your luck, right? And then even if you can't, even if you're not going to be good this week, if this is successful, if I get enough people participating, we'll try this again next month as well with some different rules and some different, restrictions on it, right? But we can find, I think this will be a fun way to have a monthly thing where we can have some different goals. Now, I'm going to cut this off on April 20th, right? Once it hits the 21st, it's cut off. That'll give me enough time to submit your names and hopefully get you guys the rewards that you want to get. So you have up until April 20th to put together a team, take a screenshot, submit it with your number, and I will go ahead and get those gems to you. But that's the game. That's what we're going to be doing. So I'm really excited about this. So now I figured I should show you guys the team that I built that I might have submitted for such a thing, so you guys can get an idea of how this works. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and check that team out. Before we do, I should mention, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell, hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. I think this should be fun. It's going to be an interesting team. All rares, Nightmare difficulty. Let's go. So this is a team I brought in. I really wanted to use Seducer in my team, so I figured I'd try this, right? So I got Seducer, I got Hellborn Sprite, Eris, Temptress, and Fanatic. Now I have Temptress in there so she can unlock Seducer's A3, this ally protection ability, which I think is always really valuable as far as staying alive. I did rebuild my Eris for my clan boss team to be able to be used in this. You know, she's going, you can see 200 speed here. I've got Seducer at 248, Fanatics 232 is going to give me my decreased defense. Temptress is going to give me Leech so we can heal up, 232 speed, and Hellborn Sprite's at 264 speed, very fast, to help keep everything alive, extend the buff so we can go at a 2-1 ratio. Also brings a small weaken buff. So now, this is just the team that I built, right? This is the one I wanted to use, and I figured I'd try this. I built it at a 2-1 ratio because I figured I have the gear for it. I might as well try it. And there's no restrictions on the gear you guys want to use. So, you know, mine is all in stalwart gear. I really went to the nines on this, see what I can put out here. But I also have, like, hardly any damage, right? I don't have any real damage dealers. I have Eris in a toxic set. That's where I'm getting my poison damage from. So I'm pretty sure you guys are going to be able to beat this damage. I'm pretty sure I've beaten this damage in other builds I've done in the past, but I just wanted to try something a little bit different. So as we get into the run here, I do need a manual just a little bit. The first turn I have set up for auto, and then that second turn I have to manual like one or two little things. So nothing too crazy, but I do need to pause it as we get in here. Basically, I need to give Hellborn Sprite and Eris an extra turn delay in there before they use their skills. Everybody else totally can be on point, but right here I got an A1, and then we can click auto. Nice and simple, doesn't take a lot to get set up and work. Easy peasy. Now, this is not an affinity friendly team. This will not work on Spirit. I it's not set up for that. Just that basic, right? I'd love if I could, but it's not a huge thing. And I think for this contest, it doesn't matter what affinity you're fighting against. I would prefer actually to go against Void, but this is what I had up, and that's fine. And this is going to work just fine for us here, so I'm not too worried about it. Hellborn Sprite actually isn't built to deal any damage, so this is a perfectly fine affinity for us to go against. Also, it means Eris isn't going to get stunned, which is always a really good thing. How this works, obviously, the big thing is Seducer is doing all the work on this team. He's got the big version of that ally protection when he's paired with Eris, or when he's paired with Temptress, excuse me. And that's why Temptress is on this team. And so he's going to be able to protect everybody for a lot of this fight simply by placing that ally protection up. On top of that, he brings a small version of that increased defense buff. Now, I'd love to bring the big version, but it's all rare champions. You can't have everything. You got to choose. In this one, I chose the smaller increased defense buff, and it does have a block debuff ability as well, but with Eris, it's not really necessary. And because of his cooldown duration, we're not going to be able to keep it up for the full fight to make this affinity friendly. Now, I could definitely make this affinity friendly by switching when Seducer's using his skills, but because we're going against blue affinity and I don't really need to, I felt this would be much more beneficial for us to be able to make sure that we have either his ally protection or that increased defense buff on us for the entire fight. And so that seemed to me much more profitable, as we're going to be able to stay alive longer because of that. And so that's the way I went with this. Now, if I wanted to go ally, to keep it affinity friendly, I could have Seducer use that ability, the block debuff ability, right before that ally protection, and with the extension from or I think I could swap them. There's a way to do it where I can make it so that it's affinity friendly. I just opted for a different route. This one's going to keep us alive the longest way, and like I said, I don't care what affinity you're using. We have Fanatic in there giving us that decreased defense, and it's the big version because we're always going to have poison debuffs up thanks to Eris in a toxic set. And then we also have Temptress in there, and Temptress is actually crucial. We don't need healing because we have her in there. She places a leech debuff for 2 turns because of the cooldowns, because we've turned off some of her skills. It's going to be up for the full fight, and that's going to give us the opportunity to heal. We are going at a 2-1 ratio, which gives us enough attack opportunities to heal up fully, at least for a majority of this fight. I'm hopeful. I haven't even seen the full run yet, so I'm not quite sure exactly how much damage we're going to end up doing. And then Eris, of course, is giving that increased speed buff. Hellborn Sprite is extending that buff and also giving us a weakened debuff on top of it. Now, I didn't build Hellborn Sprite for damage. I really just built her to survive, and the reason why is everybody's protected by that ally protection except for Hellborn Sprite and Seducer. So those are the 2 champions I wanted to build as tanky as I possibly could so that they will be able to survive. Everybody else is protected by that ally protection, so we should last a fairly long time in this fight. Now, obviously, this is my version of it. If you want to build this team, there's definitely ways to do it with, and get more damage out of it, right? I think getting the big poison debuff could maybe be way more beneficial than the small one we're getting right now. But this was how I was able to build this team, utilizing Seducer, utilizing Temptress in it, which, took up a lot of the slots that I had available. There's always other options, right? You can use champions like Apothecary, you can use other champions like Valerie would have been a solid option too. There's other approaches to this, but this is the one I wanted to try because I never used Seducer in a clan boss team successfully. I definitely haven't used Temptress, and so I was like, okay, we're gonna do this, we're gonna make this happen. But we're doing really good damage and we're staying alive, as you can see, and so I'm hopeful this will be a 2-key on Nightmare. I think is a reasonable expectation, but if we can do even better than that, that would be fantastic. And so that's pretty much the team. Well, let's let it run. I'll let you guys watch it, enjoy the music, and then when we come back, we'll go over some more about how this team works, as well as the champions and their gear. 22 million. That's pretty good. That's way better than I was actually expecting. So that's not too shabby. You know, Fnatic and Temptress. Temptress actually did a fair amount of damage. That was not something I was expecting either. So it's definitely an interesting team. I thought this was pretty fun to build and a bit unique. Now, I'll show you the gear. It is pretty pretty OP. I definitely didn't skimp on it. So I'm not saying this is the type of team you could expect this kind of damage from on your account, but you know, it was a fun challenge. And that's the whole point of this, having a fun challenge. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the champions really quick. We got Eris here in a Toxic set and an Immortal set. That's kind of what I had. I thought it was pretty good. She's the slowest in this team. This is why she's able to go first in the comp and cleanse that stun from us. What she has as far as stats go, 40,000 HP, 34,000 defense, 200 speed. Pretty on par with most of the champions on this team. Hellborn Sprite was easily the first to die, so that's somebody we'd have to look out for. As far as masteries go, we have her going in the support tree as well as the offensive tree. This is what I have built for the Myth Fu team that I usually run her as. There weren't any changes I felt like I need to make on this, and this seems pretty appropriate. Speaking of Hellborn Sprite, here you can see we have her in Stalwart set. And this I thought was going to be the one thing we'd had to do. We needed to make sure she was tanky because she wasn't protected by that ally protection all the time. On top of that, her buff extension doesn't actually do an attack, so she doesn't get an opportunity to heal from the leech half of the time. That clearly was a bit of an issue. We weren't able to heal as much as I would have liked. That said, as far as the stats go, 35,000 defense, 42,000 HP, 264 speed, and 202 accuracy. This is enough accuracy at Nightmare level to land our debuffs. The speed, there's some range on that, right? But the HP level, for the stun, I'd actually like to have that a little bit lower, but she was the weak affinity champion. That's also part of the reason why she died, and that is why she was a stun target. Preferably one of the stun targets would be Fnatic. It'd be Fnatic, or it would be Temptress. Actually, it would be the ones I would prefer take the stun on this team, but as it happened, it was Hellborn Sprite. So maybe if we were facing, I don't know, Red Affinity clan boss, that might have been a better option for us as far as staying alive and surviving everything. As far as her masteries go, we have her down the offensive tree, obviously on War Master. I could have taken Giant Slayer, but I think War Master is actually statistically slightly better. And then we took her down the defensive tree just to help her survive as much as possible. Definitely wanted to come down for the Retribution to get some free counterattacks in, as well as deterrence, because we're not always blocking the stun. I think half the time we are. For the times we are, getting a free counterattack is good. And then we have Fnatic here, and Fnatic, as you can see, also in a Stalwart set, full stats, 37,000 HP, 2,500 defense. I did build a lot of attack on him to try to get some damage out of him. 232 speed again, crit capped, and with, you know, as much crit damage as I could put. Again, 202 accuracy is enough for this level. We kept decreased defense up for the full fight, so that's definitely going to be a win for us there. He's a really good rare champion as far as damage goes. Mastery-wise, again, down the offensive tree, down to War Master, and the defensive tree here to get some free counterattacks. And then we get to the tandem pair, the two I really wanted to try using. And first one is Temptress here. And Temptress we have in a Stalwart set. Definitely worked out better than I was expecting. 3,000 defense, 32,000 HP. The HP is a little bit on the low side for sure, but that defense level is great, especially with Stalwart, especially with ally protection. Definitely helped keep her alive. We got 232 speed on her, crit capped as well, and 196 accuracy was obviously enough to keep the leech up full fight. As far as masteries go, again, offensive tree and defensive tree. Defensive tree is really good for helping champions stay alive, and that's what we opted for. And then the very last champion, the one that makes his whole team work, is Seducer. Seducer's got some crazy stuff on his kit. We did have a Stalwart set on him, as well as a mix set. 248 speed, pretty fast, 3,600 defense, and 72,000 HP. Did what I could. Only 180 accuracy. Definitely would like to have that higher. He didn't land his decreased attack all the time, and that definitely plays a role in us surviving. And I didn't watch too closely, but that might have been one of the reasons why Hellborn Sprite didn't survive. Getting that decreased attack, even if it's a small one, it makes a big difference as far as the damage we take. And then mastery-wise, again, offensive tree and defensive tree. And that was the team we used. I really liked that team. I thought it was pretty fun. Seducer is an amazing champion. Really brings a lot to the table. Decreased attack, increased defense, block debuffs for 2 turns as well. Not to mention also having that ally protection ability. Part of me feels like I could have made this work using Fnatic to cleanse the stun, as well as, you know, a combination of Fnatic and Seducer could have worked really well to cleanse the stun, and then maybe not use Eris, but instead bring in someone like an Apothecary who brings a little bit extra healing. Maybe we would have gotten some more survivability that way. But on the other hand, Eris brings a lot of poisons with that toxic set. It's a really effective way to get damage on the clan boss. So, it's a bit of a, if or how I would have liked to have done things. I mean, I really wanted to use Seducer, was a big part of this. We could have gotten a lot of effect out of using like a Mark to block the debuffs, as well as give us a big increased defense buff, right? We could have done something instead of Hellborn Sprite and got a different way from that as well. We could have brought in champions like Grave Chill Killer and Frozen Banshee, or even a Kale for some different fuller poisons and try to get more damage that way. There's a lot of options when you're trying to build these champions and build these teams. And so this is the challenge for this week, right? Basically for this month, right? For the next 2 weeks, you guys build a nightmare team using all rare champions, or lower, that's fine. But build a nightmare team. Top 10 scores will get some gems. And I think that's a fun little challenge to give you guys a little bit of reward for a little bit of work put in. So this should be fun. I'm excited to see what you guys come up with. Again, it's going to be in my Discord, which is linked down below. One thing I will encourage you guys, though, make sure to subscribe. Go ahead, click that subscribe button, click that notification bell so you know when the next video comes out, and I will let you guys know who wins when that comes about. Guys, till next we meet, I'm the Deadwood Jedi.